A trio of sisters with a strong gospel foundation were one of the most prominent female R&B acts of the 1970s. With their lovely harmonies and irresistibly addictive songs, these sisters climbed from the Chicago gospel scene to become one of the most popular girl groups of the 1970s. Along the way, they earned a Grammy and inspired multiple generations of singers, and their timeless music contains some of hip-hop's most recognizable samples. The centerpiece of today's video is all about the emotions. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. The group began in the 50s as the Hutchinson Sunbeams, a gospel trio featuring Sister Sheila, who was 3 years old, Wanda, who was 4, and Jeanette Hutchinson, who was 5, accompanied by their father Joe on guitar. Over the next decade, the young sisters gained a following through national appearances on Jerry Van Dyke's children's gospel show and touring with performers like Mahalia Jackson. However, at the end of the 1960s, the youngsters were ready for change. Their regional prominence drew the attention of Purvis Staples of the famous Staples Singers, who opted to manage them before signing them to the R&B powerhouse label Stax Records in 1969. Under the management of Staples, the trio rechristened themselves as the Emotions and pursued a career in secular music.
Hutchisons. Were you ever called that?
Well, a lot of people have a tendency to call us the Hutchisons because we are a family group. 3 sisters, our brother plays the guitar, and our father's a manager.
Have mercy. Keeping it in the family.
Staples drew the talented group into the Stax fold, where they collaborated closely with the hit-making duo of David Porter and Isaac Hayes, producing their debut album, So I Can Love You in 1969. The title song was an early hit, debuting in the Billboard Hot 100's top 40 and peaking at number 3 on the R&B chart.
I got to let you know. Don't walk away from me, baby.
Over the next year, the trio continued to have success with songs like Still in Love,
Honey, I don't hurt half as much when you're loving
The Best Part of a Love Affair,
with your baby. The pains I
and Heart Association.
You were heart association. Nothing in the way.
In 1971, they released their second album, Untouched, which included the best-selling hit, Show Me How,
How that I need you.
and the widely imitated B-side, Blind Alley.
Tell you something. Your talk ain't good enough.
During their time at Stax, the three had a notable appearance in the 1973 documentary Stax, in which they reverted to their roots and performed a movie rendition of Peace Be Still. Due to scheduling constraints, the trio was unable to play at the festival. However, they did perform the gospel staple at a nearby church. As the in-demand group became busier with promotional activities and traveling, Jeanette decided to take time off to spend with her family. Teresa Davis, Hutchinson's cousin, briefly filled in as her substitute before younger sister Pamela took over in the mid-1970s. Pamela and Jeanette would frequently perform with their sisters in the years afterward. After Stax closed its doors in 1975, the Emotions teamed up with Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire.
Matter of fact, the first time I met, I think your father had brought you around, and we were on the radio talking, doing a radio interview a couple of years ago. At that time, you were with Stax Records and with Purvis Staples, right? He was your manager, helping you out at that time, right? Since then, you've hooked up with Maurice White, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and things have begun to happen again for you. Tell us about it.
Yes, it's been quite beautiful traveling with Earth, Wind, and Fire and working with Maurice and each of them individually because Well, for one thing, we haven't had an audience less than 18,000 people.
Wow.
Since we've been working with them. It's been since June. And it'll be ending in January. And they're beautiful people to work with.
This was a creative collaboration that would endure decades and result in some of the group's best-selling albums, including Flowers, released in 1976, which had lovely hits such as How Can You Stop Loving Someone?
I've got love to share. It's your love that he left there, so tell.
Rejoice, released in 1977. Now this whole album is a must listen with notable hits such as the self-titled song. Best of My Love.
Feel discouraged, 'cause our love's no mystery.
And Don't Ask My Neighbors.
Come to me. Don't ask my neighbor.
Sunbeam, released in 1978, that had hits like Walking the Line.
Say the real thing you want.
And Love Is Right On.
Let it shine. Make everything alright.
All three of these albums were all produced by White. The group scored their first gold record with 1976's I Don't Want to Lose Your Love. While Rejoice topped the R&B charts and landed in the top 10 of the Billboard 200, it also featured their biggest hit, Best of My Love. The upbeat song spent 5 non-consecutive weeks on the Billboard Hot 100, earning the trio a platinum record, a Grammy, and an American Music Award. Meanwhile, as Discomania spread, the Hutchinsons contributed to Earth, Wind & Fire's 1979 global dance classic, Boogie Wonderland. Sheila, Pamela, Wanda, and Jeanette continued to contribute to other artists' records for decades, working with Nancy Wilson, LL Cool J, Smokey Robinson, Snoop Dogg, and Terrace Martin, among others. Although the Emotions' final CD was published in 1985, they continued to perform regularly as a trio and quartet until early 2020. Sadly, on September 18th, 2020, Pamela passed away at the age of 61. Sheila Hutchinson released a solo single entitled Keep a Little Love Light Burning. That became a popular song with the UK soul scene. The following year, the sisters released the song I Want to Thank You for Your Love for the movie soundtrack Baby Kids. The Hutchinson sisters received the Rhythm and Blues Foundation's Pioneer Award in 2001. That same year, the sisters were inducted into the R&B Hall of Fame. Other artists have always appreciated their work, particularly through covers and samples. The Emotions has influenced scores of vocalists throughout the years, including Sheena Easton, Erykah Badu, Lala Hathaway, Fantasia, and En Vogue. The trio also influenced some of the largest hip-hop acts, who frequently sampled their tunes. The Emotion signature drops may be heard on tracks by Kanye West, Salt and Pepper, A Tribe Called Quest, Tupac, 50 Cent, and the Wu-Tang Clan. Now, before we go, I have a few questions for you all. Who do you think is the greatest sister group of all time? Also, what is your favorite song from the Emotions?